Hello. I don't know if you can see me. Ah, there I am. I've got to do something with this internet connection because it's so slow. I can't actually tell when it's connected or not, which is a little bit weird. And I watch the videos back and I'm just like swinging on my chair, just like I've got all the time in the world because it's not registered that I'm live. So I think we're live now, which is good. Let me just pull comments up in case any of you want to join in and have a bit of bants with us as we go along. That's good. Always appreciate that. Really pleased this week to talk to Siobhan because she's so passionate about the work that she does with kids. We got chatting probably back end of last year, I would say. We're both in a membership group on Facebook, so that's how we met, and we got buddied up together as accountability. And she's just so cool and so sweet and so lovely that I thought she has to feature on one of these shows. And as I say, I really love the work that she does. She's so passionate about the work that she does with kids, and I thought she's a great person to bring on and chat to, really. So let's bring her out.
Hi.
It's Siobhan.
Hi. It's so lovely to be here. Thank you.
I know, it's so weird though, because obviously we talk every week, don't we? So it's kind of like talking to someone who you always talk to, but just in a different way slightly.
But it's so lovely to be here.
Yay! So tell us about you and what you do.
Yeah, so I'm Siobhan. I run Primrose Tuition. So I'm all about, I work with primary children primarily, and I'm all about building confidence. That's my big thing, that I feel like that's what children are really struggling with. We think it's maths and English, but deep down it's the confidence in that subject. So I'm very passionate about building confidence to get them enjoying learning again, particularly that subject that they're struggling with, and just becoming an independent learner so they can branch out on their own, because obviously we're not there to hold their hands all the time, especially in exams and things like that. So I'm all about making learning fun and just helping them find their own way, really. So yeah, it's I love it. I absolutely love it, and I love it more than I did working in school. So much more. I just get to work one-to-one with them or in small groups, and I just get so much joy out of it, to be honest. So yeah, I think I enjoy it more than the kids, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's just a big kid, really. But yeah, I love it. I love it. It's just so beautiful to watch them grow. So yeah, cute.
Yeah, and I think that's when you know you're doing the right job, isn't it? When you get that feeling of, oh, I love this as much as the other people are loving it. You can't beat that. That's a really nice feeling.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit about you, because again, I'm always interested in kind of sharing who we are, what we're about, what our struggles are, because I think this is a really nice sort of platform for us to be able to showcase, as I say, what makes us different and unique, and to kind of inspire other people if they're struggling with similar things. So tell us about your story.
Yeah, so I'm not going to lie, it hasn't been easy. Probably the last 7 years have been quite a slog. Struggled with a lot of mental health. And I talk quite openly about that now because I feel like it's a taboo subject still in 2021. And that's wrong, really, for me. Like, I feel like people hide it and feel like they can't get the help that they need because they're in the wrong. They've got something wrong with them. And actually, it's just the fact of life. We all struggle with it. Even if it's just a little bit of stress from work, that's mental health, and we need to be open about it. So I do like to talk openly about it so that people can feel like they can start opening up and getting the help they need. And I had sort of stress at work. Teaching was so stressful for some of the schools that I worked in. So I knew that it wasn't the environment for me. But equally, I had prenatal and postnatal depression with my youngest son, to the point where literally I didn't want to leave the house, didn't want to shower, eat, anything like that. And it's made me the person I am today, and it's made me stronger. And it led me to where I am today. So I have to be grateful for that. But yeah, it's always been a struggle, even though it was my dream job. It was a struggle to get into. I didn't actually go to uni till I was 26. I waited till I had a baby and everything, so it made my life so much more difficult. But it's nice because I work with adults who always felt like, not always, but some of them felt like it was too late to learn. And I proved that it's not. You know, you can go to uni or whatever at whatever age. There's no limit on your age, and you can do it even if you're a single parent like I was, whether you've got a mortgage to pay like I did, and you don't have a job. You know, you can do it. So that was really nice. But that did lead me into my dream job, which is what I thought was the dream job that I wanted to do, teaching. So I went into that, and actually it was a bit like meeting your idol who you've idolized all your life, and they're not who you thought they were. It was a bit like that for me. It wasn't all I thought it was. And yeah, so I just found myself totally overwhelmed, working like 70-hour weeks, and the prenatal depression just threw me. And I thought, yeah, something has to change here. And my health had really taken a dip. So I thought, right, let's focus on you and focus on your family and just create something that is perfect, that includes what I loved doing. So that's what I did. And that led me into being an entrepreneur, which has been amazing ever since. I've absolutely loved it, combining the things that I love, like working for myself and teaching, but making it what I wanted, if that makes sense. And the difference I've been able to make to children now is completely different to when I was in the classroom. I felt like I couldn't help all 30 kids at the same time. So somebody would always be left behind, which is never what a teacher wants, ever. But you just couldn't be there for every single child. So yeah, it was really hard. Whereas now I can give my full attention to each and every child, which is amazing. And the results that brings, it proves the difference. You know what I mean? It's huge, the difference you can make getting children reading after less than 2 hours when they couldn't read at all. You know, tables recall more than 30%. Just not rote learning. I'm rambling a bit now. Not rote learning, which is how we were taught. Just 1 times 1 is 2. It's not that. It's more fun and learning strategies and things like that, which actually, rather than having to have an amazing memory, which we don't all have, I certainly don't, it works for all children. Just little things like that. And I've just made it my own, and the results have proved worthwhile. So yeah, so I've found that amazing, and I've discovered personal development, which I am obsessed by as a consequence. And
You and me both.
Obsessed, and I've become a better person because of it. Much more positive. I found amazing people like yourself, just linking up with people rather than sort of the staff room politics, all that business and bitchiness. And instead, I found a community of people who are just the loveliest people, and they just want to build you up. So yeah, and I've become a lifelong learner, which is what I want my children to become. That's what I want to inspire them to become, because that's the growth for me. That's the success. So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling now. But I also, along my journey of personal discovery, I also found out that I have ADHD. So that explained a lot why I was struggling so much. So yeah, so I like to inspire my kids with that and just help them get through the same battles I've had. So yeah, I'll stop now.
And that's really interesting about you, because you've achieved so much, but you've had so many kind of challenges and setbacks, and I love that perseverance and enthusiasm you've got. And I know, like, some of the conversations we have, we were like, I'm a bit bummed this week, and we always, you know, come back from it, don't we?
Yeah,
and I think that's part of what you're talking about. It's that drive to learn, that drive to, you know, what can I do next? How can I look at this differently? How can I put a different slant on it to try and get around the obstacle, because you can keep banging up against it, or you can
Yeah.
find a way around it, over it, under it. And I think that's what learning helps you to do, doesn't it? It helps you to have that
Oh,
versatility and have that staying power and motivation to keep going. So yeah, love that.
that's
Tell
exactly
me
what it is.
about, yeah, tell me about purpose and meaning. What's the thing that keeps you going, that gets you out of bed each day?
Well, my kids are the cliched answer, of course. And they do literally get me out of bed at 7 a.m. But no, they do they are my purpose. That's I'm here to show them the way. I'm here to inspire them to chase their dreams just like I've done. And my God, do they deserve the world, because they are just the sweetest, loveliest, kindest, caring boys. So yeah, they deserve it so much. And they drive me up the wall as well, of course. They're just crazy, wild, and loud. But they are amazing. And yeah, I just want to be a good role model for them ultimately. And that's what gets me out of bed every day. So yeah.
Mm, definitely. The other thing I'm really interested in is it kind of helping, and I suppose that's a lot of what I do, is helping people to see how awesome they are. Because I think so often, we're trudging through our lives. We naturally, we have this negativity bias, and we then have this
Mhm.
confirmation bias as well, which then backs up the negative things that we see. It's
Yeah.
very easy to only focus on the bad things about ourselves, about our life, about other people as well, that kind of state of judgment.
Yeah.
So I really like to get people thinking about what's great about them, what's unique and beautiful and wonderful about them. So what's that for you? What's your kind of superpower, or the thing that you really like about yourself?
Yeah. I think this is a really good question, because one thing along my journey that I've discovered is self-care is absolutely vital. Like, first and foremost, that has to come first. And that's what keeps you going when you're looking after yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup and everything else. And this question would be really hard for me before, because you beat yourself up and everything else, and I would struggle to answer this. But I think in hindsight, I would say my resilience. I'm shocked by my own answer, if I'm honest with you, because I'd have never said I was resilient. I never realised my own strength until I look back and I reflect on the past, and I'm like, wow, I have actually been through so much crap, and I'm still here, and I'm stronger as as a consequence. I even when I don't want to keep going, and I think, oh, it's just easier to give up, I keep going from somewhere. I keep going, and I realize that actually things are not as bad as they seemed. It's all, you always blow it up, you put out of proportion, and just
Yeah.
I think you can help other people from your own resilience, because they watch you and they see that you're growing and you can get through it, so they feel like they can. So yeah, I think it's a great superpower to have, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, we've got noise in the background, I'm afraid, because Paul seems to be washing up some dishes. Not sure why this was the best time for him to do that.
Paul, wait.
And he's got noise cancelling headphones on as well, so I can't even just like shout through and go, "Stop it!" It looks like he's done now. So carrying on. He's done so
Oh,
many things like that.
at least
It's part and
it's
parcel. And this is working from home, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? This is the reality of working from home. So it's
yeah.
all good. But tell me about, what's your biggest learning? Because I feel like I'm learning stuff all the time at the
Yeah.
minute. It's like since starting my business, and before that, to be fair, probably around sort of March time last year, beginning-ish of last year, I've just kind of just been on this. I'm like a sponge. I feel like I'm just always absorbing information and knowledge, and wanting to do things with it. So, what's your biggest learning?
There's so many, honestly. I could just sit here all day talking about it. But one thing that's really come up for me very recently is this idea of we chase success. Do you know, we just want success. I mean, we're ambitious people at the end of the day, so we see the end goal as success. And actually, what I've discovered is it's not about the success. And this is conversations I've been having recently. It's the growth that we really want. We think it's the success, but it's the growth. And that's what keeps us going. That's what gets us excited when we're doing all these personal development and reading the books and everything else. Like, that's the process, the learning process that really satisfies us. And that's what gets us fulfillment. And I sort of see it as like climbing a mountain. And when you're climbing it, it's hard and everything else, but that's the process that you actually enjoy. When you get to the top, it's a bit like, oh, right, what now? Where do I go now? There's nowhere else to go. I'm going to have to go back down again now. And the only thing you can do is just keep climbing the next mountain. You know, that's setting that new goal, and it's the process that's the growth. You know, that's what leads to the success. So that's been a massive learning for me recently. Yeah, and I love that stuff. So
yeah, I really like that. That really sort of resonates with me, because I think I've definitely been after the success a lot in the past. You know, there's that feeling of, I'll be happy when I get that promotion. I'll be happy when I earn a particular amount of money. I'll be happy when I get that pat on the back, when I've done this piece of work. And it's not true. All that happens is you get to there and you kind of go, oh, and then you've got to do the next thing. Yeah. Whereas when you're more invested in the journey, in the living the process of it, for me, that feels much more energizing and invigorating. And that's what I get the real kind of moments out of, I think. So, yeah, I totally agree with that.
That's what I found. Sorry.
Oh, no, go on, sorry.
No, that's what I try to teach my kids, that it's all about the process rather than, oh, look, you've got this grade now and stuff like that. And that's when they enjoy learning and they want to keep going. Do you know, that's when it changes, it clicks into place. So I think we can learn from that.
Yeah, 100%. It's the journey, not the destination, isn't it? And I've always been fixated by the destination. What's the fastest I can get to this point? What's the easiest way for me to get to this point? And it is all about just enjoy the ride, man, because that's when the good stuff happens. And otherwise you've missed it and you're just kind of like, oh, I'm there, what happened? Yeah, really like that. Tell me about, in fact, give us your kind of tips, tricks, or advice. What are your one or two things that have really helped you that you think other people would benefit from?
Yeah. So the biggest thing for me to start with is to surround yourself with the right people. So by that, I mean positive people who love you for you. You don't have to change for them. You know, just being you is enough. And what I find is that when I'm in a negative mood, and we don't always know we are, but when I'm feeling negative, everything feels like it's going wrong. And it's like, it's that thing where you stub your toe in the morning and the whole day goes wrong. And it's like, actually, if you pull yourself out of that and you start being positive, which I know is easier said than done, opportunities and doors start opening. It's really weird. And so if I notice myself being negative, I try to bring it around. And that's hard, really hard. So I find journaling the best thing for that, or speaking to someone positive. It just brings me around. And yeah, journaling is a biggie for me. I absolutely love journaling. And I've talked about taking care of yourself. That's key, and personal development. But I'd also say about not giving up. And I have sort of a little trick that I do when I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I just ask myself some questions like, you know, what's the worst thing that can happen? So I can absolutely imagine the worst case scenario. And is that actually going to happen? You know, what are the possibilities of that actually coming true? And what if that didn't happen? What's the alternative? And it just gets me thinking about things from a different perspective rather than always a negative one. And then it feels like a smaller problem. So just things like that, because we live very negatively and we don't realise it. And we hear negative thoughts and comments all day long sometimes. So it can really affect our mood. So I just find that that's really handy to just pull me out of it. Yeah.
Love it. Golden nuggets there.
Hello?
And lots of things I use as well. So yeah, I can definitely vouch for that working. Definitely the that whole kind of impact and likelihood is so useful because of this negativity bias that we've got. It makes us really risk averse, doesn't it? And then we feel kind of like we don't do things that would be really good for us because we talk ourselves out of it because it might go wrong, or I'm going to look stupid, all of that kind of rubbish. And the reality is it's generally never as bad as you think. So those two questions, what's the worst that can happen? And what's the impact of that if it does happen? Or what's the likelihood of it actually happening? And you kind of go, actually, on balance, if the risk is worth taking for what the benefits could potentially be. So yeah, love that. I'm just mindful of the time because I've got a call at 2 as well. So I will finish in bang on time today, like a minute before. But so if anyone's got any questions, comments, if you want to tap into Siobhan's brain about any questions about tutoring for the little ones, feel free to stick that in the chat. I'll just keep an eye on that. So whilst we do that, I've got to ask my little silly questions because I love silly questions at the end. So, cake or biscuit, Siobhan? What's it?
Cake or biscuit, did you say?
Cake or biscuit?
Cake or biscuits? Oh,
like
cake.
your favourite sweet treat?
Cake all day.
What kind of cake?
Chocolate. Chocolate all day.
A nice good chocolate one.
Oh, not too sickly. I am old now.
That's a sure sign. Yeah, it's like as we get older, like when you were a kid, you'd be there, it'd be like chocolate round your face, it'd be all over your hands, you'd just be like shoving it in. And then you get older and you get a little bit kind of like, oh, it's a bit too rich for me.
Like when you get kids' cake and it's like it's just pure icing, and it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna peel all this off like a boring mum. Can't be doing with that.
Yeah, I'll just eat the sponge. I'm not eating any cake at the moment. I'm on a new eating program, so there's no refined sugars. Whole of last week and this week again, no sugars. You can imagine me. I'm just like, oh. I'm managing to do it, but this weekend is not going to work so well because I'm eating out twice, so I feel like I'm pretty guaranteed to stray off the path. But that's okay. I'll pull myself back onto the horse again afterwards. So yes, that's one question done. What about guilty pleasures? What's one of those embarrassing things that you do?
Well, it's a bit of a. This is probably not the right answer, but I've got a crush on a really embarrassing celebrity. Well, it's Bruce Willis. I'm not gonna lie. I really fancy Bruce Willis, and I'm like, I just got to think.
Bruce Willis is kind of hot though.
Yeah, he is, isn't he? I thought it was just me.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I wouldn't say no to a date with Brucey.
He's really old now, bless him, but yeah. Bruce Willis.
Age is just a number.
Exactly.
No, I think Bruce Willis is great. I thought you were going to say Bruce Forsyth or something. Then that would have been a little bit, ooh, okay. That's a little bit niche.
He's not bald enough.
But no, I could go for Brucey. And final question: are there any, Netflix series or podcasts, YouTube channels, anything like that you're into at the minute that you think other people would enjoy? Recommend.
Well, I loved The Crown on Netflix, so I'm eagerly awaiting the next one of that.
The Return of the Crown.
That's gonna be good. And I'm feeling like all the Harry and Meghan stuff, that's gotta be in there at some point, hasn't it? So I'm excited for that. But I love crime dramas. Like, I'm all over crime. I just love that. Like murders and stuff, So yeah, I can't really put my finger on one. But anything like that comes up, I'm all over that. podcasts. I've just started listening to Denise Duffield Thomas, her podcast. That's quite nice. But yeah, that's about it. I can't think of any YouTubes that I'm watching. But yeah, anything with murder or money is fine.
Any kind of crime and wrongdoing, basically, is what we're talking about. Well, I can't see any comments coming through, so I don't know if that's to do with connectivity or pinch today, which is fine. Obviously, if you're watching it on replay, give us a hashtag replay, and any questions you've got, pop them in there, and I'm sure Siobhan will come by and answer them for you. She's on LinkedIn and on Facebook, so hop onto the thread later if you would, Siobhan, and just put your your details on there so people can connect with you if they want to. But I highly recommend it because she's an awesome person, and if you've got kids, she's a great tutor there. So look her up, check her out.
I don't mention crime
until next week. No. Oh yeah. Or chocolate cake or Bruce Willis.
Save them for adult
time. That's off the menu. Yeah, absolutely. So I'll see you next week, and we're back to the normal 12:30 slot next week. So we'll see you then. Catch you later. Bye.
Bye.